Welcome to the Menopausal Women Show for Nutrition, Health and Wellness. I'm Michelle, and as a nutrition and wellness coach, I work with menopausal women to transform their hormone health and well-being to achieve the life they want to achieve. On this podcast, I share research findings on hot topics, talk with other holistic healers, and share my own experiences to empower women to take steps to a better lifestyle. This week, we welcome back Julie, the founder of Yourself Yoga. Julie is one of only 700 people worldwide qualified in menopause yoga. As well as teaching yoga, Julie runs a number of retreats to help women manage their menopause symptoms, and her mission is to let all women know that there is a powerful natural solution for the menopause. So welcome back, Julie.
Thank you. So nice to be here again, Michelle. Thank you.
Now, on our last chat together, we briefly touched upon how yoga can help symptoms of menopause, and we both had a phenomenal response to that episode. Yeah, I'm still asked by my clients, and I'm sure you're asked by your clients, what is the daily habits that you need to do just to make us feel better and manage this evolutionary journey? So let's kick off. Firstly, why is it important to have daily habits?
I mean, it's a great question to start with because I think when we understand this bit, I think we're more inclined to pay attention to our habits and hopefully get good habits repeating themselves. Habits basically create that routine and they make us more efficient, more productive. If you think about a child likes stability and routine. It's the same with us, right? It might sound boring and predictable, but when you know you're going to start your day in a certain way, it gives you that efficiency. It gives you that kind of routine, the structure, and guess what? You're likely, if they're good habits anyway, that you're likely to become more productive, more efficient, more successful. And here's the thing, Michelle, right? Habits can be tiny, tiny little habits. They don't have to be huge, a big, long, drawn out affair. And they can be related to your health, to your nutrition, self-care, exercise, even your work, right? But those little habits, when you stack them up and when you repeat them consistently, is what makes you or helps you achieve your goals. And this is where I think women go wrong. They jump in, let's say, to yoga, or they jump into some new discipline in the new year, right? When we've all eaten and drank to excess, and they've set themselves the goal and the target, but it doesn't happen. Why? Because they didn't think through the habits. So that is why they are so important.
That's a great way of looking at it, because actually we all started off as babies and we all liked that routine. I suppose as we get older though, and we've got more life challenges, and it's a very much fast culture. Do we think it's too much asking women to start adopting new habits, particularly in this phase of their life?
Actually, no, if you think about it, now is the perfect time. So if you've hit perimenopause, the period leading up to menopause, which can last several years, right? You know things are changing mentally, physically, emotionally. So what do you do? Sit there and not react to any of those changes? No, you're better off starting to go with the changes and start developing some new habits to deal with them. But it comes back to keeping it small, keeping it sensible, keeping it sustainable, achievable. And if you're aching, if you've got aches and pains, you've got joint pain, yes, you can take tablets, right? But one of the best ways is to move the body, right? But it doesn't have to mean you have to go run a marathon. It could be just 5 minutes of gentle stretching. So, and we've touched on this before, I know but not once a week, because the thing is, you're going to have those aches and pains every day. So 5 minutes on maybe not a daily basis, but frequently. small, consistent bursts will help create a habit whereby you think, oh, I've got to do my stretching now. It becomes automatic, it becomes programmed.
I think also on that point is at the back of my mind, obviously going through this journey, and I am obviously an athlete as well, is that one thing that I learned from you is that it's the fluid around those joints and the pain. And actually, it's just that movement, even if it's just, 2 minutes of stretching, just can have that phenomenal impact. And, everybody can find 5 minutes in the day. And the question that I always ask myself and my clients is, what is the worst that's going to happen if you start something else that you're supposed to do 5 minutes later? And 9 times out of 10, they're like, not much.
Exactly. I mean, going back to the question you asked, yes, now is a perfect time to start new things, if you keep it small and realistic. And yeah, like you say, what's the worst that could happen? But I think, it's keeping an open mind, trying something new. Yes, it's daunting. It can be daunting. It can be overwhelming, the thought of it. Like maybe you've never stepped on a yoga mat. What on earth is it all about? That's what I thought when I first started. So, but just, keep it really simple.
So, in your experience, how long does it take to create a new habit? And I'm saying in your experience because there's lots of research out there that says it could be 20 days, 22 days, it could be 30 days. But I mean, you've worked with lots of different clients. How in your experience do you think it takes to create that new habit?
It depends on the habit, obviously, and how long is a piece of string, because, habits can vary. But like, let's say a yoga habit, I know, oh, and there is a theory that it takes 21 days to create a habit. And in my experience dealing with ladies, it's actually 3 weeks. 3 weeks, I would say. I have a program of 7 stages that the ladies follow, and they're told kind of when to practice, what to practice. Not, they can choose which day, but in 1 week, they would practice 3 times, 3 short bursts of yoga. And when they've repeated that over 3 weeks, yeah, they have a habit. And most go on to the next stage because their body's used to it. They can feel the benefits. They feel great. They've got a little structure going. They know when it's best for them to practice. So, but it can take longer. It depends on the habit, and it comes back to how consistently are you doing it. Once a week does not create a habit. It can take a long, long time before the mind and the body craves whatever that is. So yeah, it's all about consistency and starting small. Yeah.
So I suppose really, which daily habits do you recommend, and which ones are your top three?
So my top three for sure are yoga, meditation, journaling, right? I wouldn't go daily without doing those to some extent. And then I also believe in affirmations, which is like positive thinking, really, visualization, and self-care, and also reading. That sounds so boring, doesn't it? But also reading, learning something new, even if it's only 5 minutes, read. And I don't mean like a gossip column, like learn something new. So those are the ones the daily habits that I recommend. And when I say yoga, you can substitute yoga for movement. If yoga is not your choice of exercise, movement of the body, whatever will give you those endorphins flying around, whatever moves the body so that you're raising the heart rate and moving joints and so on. So that's my list of daily habits, which sounds really, really long. But you can create a little structure where you can do most of those in a short space of time. And where you're not actually thinking about it, you just do it because why? Because it's become a habit. So, it's when you first look at something I run a transformation challenge for my ladies, and in that transformation challenge, they have to do 7 daily habits. Which sound very similar to these. And in, you first look at it and it can seem like, oh my God, how do I fit all of this in? But there's a few little tricks that you can do to make it very, very manageable. Very.
I'm just intrigued because affirmations come and go, and there's lots of different theories around affirmations.
Yeah.
Are you willing to just share one or two that you use?
Oh, I'm quite happy to share my own. So I encourage my ladies to write their own. Yeah. Be guided by others, but write your own, because then it's something personal to you. And it's no good just saying something if you don't believe in it, if you
Yeah.
don't connect with it, right? And it should always, always be written in in the present tense, right? Not in the future tense. I will be happy. No, you are telling the universe and your subconscious that you are happy now, right? So my affirmation, and it's the best time to do affirmations are when you first wake up in the morning and when you go to bed at night. And if you practice yoga, you practice an affirmation maybe at the end of your yoga session when the brain is very, very receptive. And my current affirmation, which I've been using for a while now, is I am happy, I am healthy, I am peaceful, I am positive, I am wealthy, I am wise. And with each word, I really, really connect with it. I believe in it. I'm happy. I'm healthy. That's a great reminder for anyone, right? Because how bad could it be? It could be really bad, right? Menopause can be challenging, but could be a lot worse. Yeah, I am peaceful. I am positive. A reminder to keep your inner peace. Stay positive despite the challenges. And I am wealthy. I am wise. And wealthy doesn't mean, oodles of money in the bank. Wealthy as in, you've got your health, you've got family, etc. And wise, yeah. Always listen to your third eye, your inner intuition. That guides you a lot more than your mind. So that is my affirmation. And I say it every day.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
So we're going to talk a bit more about movement, because obviously that's one thing that, nutrition and movement is key to me. And I think exercise of any form holds much benefit for everyone across the board. But there's this perception that the sort of like movement has to be really intense. And there's also the perception that obviously for yoga, for majority of people, that you have to be very flexible and get your legs around your neck.
Yeah.
So I think, from your experience, what sort of movement habit would you recommend that we each do daily and that has a really positive impact? And I think when we say positive impact, it's not just on our menopausal symptoms, but across the board. The one thing that if you could just turn around to all of us and say, yeah, that's what I recommend from my experience.
Okay, so I know you're a runner and I was a swimmer for more years than I care to remember. But, the one practice, movement, form of exercise that ticks most boxes, and especially at this stage of life, is actually yoga. Because you target your physical symptoms, your mental symptoms, and your emotional symptoms. And if you're into that side of it, it can also enhance you spiritually as well, give you a sense of being connected to something higher. So it can alleviate more symptoms than most other solutions, right? There's not many forms of exercise can tick all of those boxes. It's proven. And basically every time you step on a yoga mat, you detoxify the body. You cleanse the mind, you detoxify the body. You only need 10 minutes. Yoga classes run for an hour. I've not got an hour to spend on yoga most days. Who has? Right? It's small, short bursts and 10 minutes of stretching, moving the body. Just think about a twist, a yoga pose where you just gently twist the body. It's like wringing a cloth and squeezing the digestive system. So you do a few little twists in the morning, everything fires up, starts to work. You do a pose, and I don't mean a headstand, but you do a pose where the head drops lower than the heart. You're sending fresh blood to the head. You're boosting your brain power, but your hormone centers in your brain. You boost all your hormones as well. So the stretching, the suppleness that you bring to your joints, you're eliminating the aches and pains, and you are elevating your mood. It's so easy to become down, and you step on a yoga mat for 10 minutes and you get off and you're like, oh, I feel so much better. Something changed. It's like you let go of something. And I know other forms of exercise do that. You know, you can do a run, can't you? You can do a great swim and you just
Well,
feel fantastic.
it's actually quite interesting on this subject, just to digress slightly, because I've just done an epic Giants marathon, and it was totally different out of this world. So obviously I went through the training,
Yeah.
and I was doing it with a few other girls, but one of them's a top athlete. She's just like elite athlete. And it was something came up because I've started obviously through yourself doing your yoga, and I was a bit, because I've been to the classes, didn't really get on with them. I was thinking, God, but everybody says yoga's good for you. And I actually found, certainly I've suffered for years with the irritable bowel side of things, the digestion and the yin side of things. And then with just the trauma that I've built up over the years, some of the poses have really started to releasing it off. And I just so happened to be chatting to the others that were running, and they're a bit older than me and a bit further in that journey.
Yeah.
And they were saying they've been doing yoga. And so all of a sudden, what we're finding is we're not as tired. We bounce back a lot quicker after an event. And also we're getting less injuries.
It's interesting.
Which is really interesting. And certainly because obviously particularly for myself, I'm quite of a slim build. I have to be conscious of my core because it takes a lot of the core. But I'm actually finding that the relaxation and using the spine and the yoga is actually really, really helping with I'm not feeling so tired, and actually strengthening my back, so that I feel that when I run, I am actually more of a column now, where 20s, when I was doing a lot more races and perhaps a lot speedier time, I would then find the impacts and be like, God, I can't walk down the stairs. I feel like John Wayne. Where now, and it's just basically by being open-minded, I thought, might as well give it a go. But because you have that variety, and sometimes with the kids, I just have to go and lie down because
it's quiet, peaceful me time.
And going to bed, there were a couple of nights when I'm coaching. So I go from my day job to I'm coaching in the evening, and I'm not able to do my full like bedtime routine. And it's just that 5 minutes and you go, oh, okay then. And it has amazing benefits. So I'm literally walking and talking. People are probably saying, your movement. And I'm going, well, actually, yeah, I've done it. I was one of these skeptics.
Nice. So here's the thing as well, right? Don't you think as a society, we are conditioned to count calories, count steps, right? To have done, so many repetitions of something, lifted so many weights, right? Like it's this big, huge competition, and we can only achieve something if we do that much. And it's actually not, right? You can often achieve more by doing less. I teach menopause yoga, and menopause yoga, there are three main styles. One is to move the body because you need that. The other is to stretch the joints, right? Because the joints really are affected in menopause. And then the other one is to calm the nervous system, right? Because hormones trigger lots of mental and emotional symptoms. Everyone zooms in on poor sleep, hot flushes, joint pain, brain fog. There's a lot of emotional ones, anger, irritability. I was actually talking to someone the other day, and they were saying that when you've gone through certain traumas in your life, they actually come out more in menopause. It's like, I said to you, your issues live in your tissues,
Yeah.
right? And suddenly things are bubbling up that you thought you dealt with years before. So it's really, really important. And, so committing to some big, scary exercise routine now's not the time for that. But move your body, choose something that's gentle, that is sustainable, like yoga, which ticks all the levels of well-being. 10 minutes a day, boom,
Yeah.
makes a
I
difference.
think also it depends, as we said, it's about goal setting, daily habits.
Mm,
Do the yoga because that's holistic and will help you just start your day right, or finish your day right. But equally, I go, you can, if you want to, if your goal is to lose weight, then yeah, okay, let's have a look. But
yeah,
don't run every day or walk every day, because you can do walking, it's movement with
yeah,
just a bit of yoga. So you
yeah,
start off the yoga to get your body moving, 5 minutes. You can go out for a 10-minute walk. That's your 15-minute routine,
sure.
and I just think it's the combination, but I think very much raising the awareness that particularly at this day and stage of our life is very much the coupling. And I didn't, until I've gone through this, I would read the papers and the research, and I was like, yeah, I'll get to it. Where now, when you go, I'm in this situation and you want to do the both, you
Yeah,
are having to do the holistic side of things, and it's just, okay, what is my routine? What's my lifestyle? And it can only be, as you say, 5 minutes, 1 minute,
mhm,
couple of stretches of yoga, a quick run around the block, or start 5-star jumps, and then some, meditation, journaling, and that you've got literally in 5 minutes,
yeah.
whole
There's,
holistic.
Michelle, I teach a lot of ladies. I would say the majority have never stepped on a yoga mat before. And the reasons why are, several. But they, like my yoga, for example, is to be practiced at home. It's
Mm.
online. So they feel comfortable at home. And that's a big thing. If you haven't started something before, joining a club or, going to a yoga studio or a gym, maybe you don't feel body confident, you don't have the time, you don't look like the kind of person who exercises, and it can be intimidating. So
Mhm.
just doing some gentle yoga moves at home in the comfort of your own home. And they send me photos, and half of them are in the pajamas. They're not wearing yoga leggings. They do early morning. So yeah, it's finding something that works for you that can slot into your day. That's the key.
You've said meditation and journaling are also in your top 3 daily
Mm,
habits, and I think they're quite they're quite unique habits. So I got into journaling, which I did a previous podcast where I started reading back on my journaling, and it was just literally ranting at the start of the day. Where now I'm like, right, it's more focused of how am I feeling, what went well today, and what didn't.
mhm.
And then the meditation is really random for me, because sometimes I just go lie down, and that's classed as meditation, i.e., just don't talk to me for 5 minutes. I've just got to focus on my breathing.
Yeah.
Where others, I use different apps, and some of yours, just to try and take that noise chatter out. So, why for you is the meditation journaling in your top 3 daily habits?
The meditation is actually part of yoga. If you study yoga philosophy, it's one of the 8 limbs of yoga, and and yoga was designed to meditate. Yeah, the idea being that move your body. Imagine like you've got a shirt and it's full of creases and wrinkles, right? You're not going to put it on until you've ironed it and it looks good. It's the same with yoga. Move the body, get rid of the stress, yeah, get rid of the toxins, and then sit in peace and quiet and just sit, right? Here's where we all go wrong with meditation is we think we have to switch off our mind. And I say, a teacher once told me, just sit with your messy self. Just sit, right? I teach guided meditations because guided listening to someone guiding you completely distracts you from, am I doing it right? As my mind wandered, oh my God, I was doing my shopping list and now I should be meditating. I can hear the dog barking, right? So just sit with your messy self and listen to a guided meditation. Honestly, 5 minutes, 5 minutes on a regular basis, daily if you can, after you've moved your body, you feel calm, you feel relaxed. And again, practiced over a period of time, you start to see changes. The changes being that it's almost like you've taken a step back and you can see you're not as reactive to situations. You found a new place, a peace, a certain peace or calm. And it can balance out those horrible ups and downs, mood swings and emotional turbulences that menopause brings. So and my meditations are all for symptoms, or my yoga is for symptoms. So I have one, for example, and it's a real favorite with the ladies. And it's, you just feel so overwhelmed with everything, work, life, family, kids. And it's where you're standing outside your door and you're carrying suitcases, 2 suitcases, one in each hand. And it's like one's filled with all the stuff that's stressing you out, and the other's filled with all the good stuff, right? And it's called drop the suitcase. Just drop the suitcase. Don't take it with you. Feel how, and open the door, walk into your home, how much better you feel. And guided with a visualization style of meditation, they're really, really powerful because you actually feel like you're letting go. It could be a balloon, letting a balloon go filled with all your worries and so on. But yeah, it's very, very, very powerful. Journaling, because equally powerful, a way of dealing with the mental symptoms of menopause, right? Learning to journal in a style where, not like you were saying, where you're ranting, but trying to find something positive. I tell my ladies, not every day is good, but there's something good in every day. Find it. Go find it. So you woke up this morning, you didn't sleep, right? You've got a horrid day ahead, lots of stress at work, you're running late. What good is there in that? There's lots of good things you could pull out. The sun could be shining. You've got 2 arms, 2 legs. You've got someone who loves you. Lots of people don't have that. So find the positive thing that you can write about. It rewires your brain to think positively. And then when you go to bed at night, just spend a couple of minutes. What was the best thing about your day? You could have had such a crappy day. Everything went wrong, but you know what? There will be something. So go to bed, close the book and go to bed, resting with that thought, not the endless list of things that you didn't do, right? The brain just is programmed. We are programmed to go towards the negative. So train it to go towards positive. So starting your day, ending your day, and again, it comes back to a daily habit, consistency, and also don't have to write reams. You don't have to have a big fancy journal. It could be a notebook. What is one thing I am grateful for today? Yeah. What was the best part of my day? How could I have given more? Who would I like to tell them I love them? Yeah. Who did I not tell today? I'll tell them tomorrow. It's that kind of positivity that it brings and can keep you emotionally stable and mentally in a much stronger place so that you become more resilient to deal with all these issues. Combine with the meditation, you moved your body, combine with the meditation when you're like, oh, I've got this. I feel calm, I'm not reacting. And then you taught to like, well, this is really crappy, but you know what? Sun's shining, I can hear the birds singing. And I know it sounds twee, but it makes a difference.
It does. It really does. And I like the birds singing. I think my journaling now is touching on your spiritual side of things and meditation, because life does get really hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes you sit there and I'm just like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Because obviously being a parent and my kids are teenagers, and that's just a whole different ball game, isn't it, at the moment? But with the life's challenges, you sometimes are going, I have no clue what I'm supposed to be doing about this. And actually, to do a bit of obviously the yoga, the meditation, but then in my journal, I go, I'm handing this over to you. I really do not know what I'm supposed to do about X,
Yeah.
and I'm handing it over. And that coupled with the other two sort of habits, and this then goes into what is your bedtime routine about, which we've talked about before. I tend to go, oh, you sleep, and then the following day you wake up because you haven't gone to bed about thinking about it. You've just gone, I'm handing it to somebody else. I'm handing it to my book, or I'm handing it, some people name their journals, don't they? I'm handing it to Fred. And actually listening then to the guided meditation, you just go, okay, it drowns that out.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, the following day, you're presented with an answer, or try this option or try that option. And this is going back to doing those daily habits, to then having the holistic side of things, to then go, well, actually, this isn't just applicable to people in the menopause. You're going, this is applicable to everybody.
Yeah.
Because it's, I find the culture that we're in is, and particularly obviously, the pandemic was great because you didn't have anything. But it's coming back into there's too much,
Yeah.
and I see it a lot in my children, being neurodiverse. Sometimes there's just too much going on for them, and I can't teach them yoga or meditation. They see me do it and I go, one day you'll realize why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But I do say, let's go move, go on your bike, let's go for a run, let's go for a
Yeah.
walk,
Yeah.
and trying to incorporate that way.
Which is good, just as good.
So sorry, digressing there.
No, you're all
You've
right.
you've shared like your recommended daily habits that, to be quite honest, are simple and effective. And I think again, one of the things that I certainly experience is how do you put it into your lifestyle? Because a lot of kickback I get, people are saying, I'm too busy to make breakfast. And I'm like, overnight porridge, they take 5 minutes. I put a timer on you.
Yeah.
I'm too busy to go and do exercise because I'm too tired. And I'm like literally, you've got to go outside for 2 minutes and walk up and down your road. That is it.
Yeah.
So from your experience, how have you worked it into your family? And particularly if you're going through a particular stressful time, and that could be because your dog's ill, you've got your kids coming to visit, could be a whole plethora of things.
So 5 to 10 minutes stretching, moving. Yeah. 5 minute meditation. And then 5 minutes of journaling. Could be 2.5 minutes at the beginning of the day, 2.5 minutes at the end. That adds up to 20 minutes. I say this, if you don't have 20 minutes for yourself, well, then you have a bigger problem. Something's not right if you can't find 20 minutes for yourself. I have all manner of people, excuses and reasons like, oh, I can't, I'm not a morning person. Set your alarm earlier or do it later in the day. Yeah, find a time when it works for you. I don't have energy. This will give you energy. Yeah, I've got so many other people to look after. Well, then you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, right? So 20 minutes, and you could space that out. You could do your meditation at night before you go to sleep. You just do 10 minutes in the morning and then 2 minutes in your little journal, writing something down about what you're grateful for or whatever. But honestly, it doesn't have to be, it could be a 5 minute walk around the block. Move your body, do something for your mind, and journal. Write down, train your mind to think positively. Easy.
I'm just writing the train, and that's beautiful. Train your mind to think positively.
Yeah, your mind will always take you to the negative. So
Yeah, and
train
that's
it.
so true. So
Mm.
true. And just, I think from this, I'm learning that actually, yeah, I'm going to focus more on the yoga and meditation now, because I do a lot of other stuff, and I feed my body and I move and stuff, but actually to train my mind to think positive all the time and not to react.
Yeah.
And that's the big challenge, I think, for most of us, is reaction. The
Yes.
first thing we do is either we want to try and fix it, or we react to it.
Yeah, exactly.
And, we react to somebody cutting us up on, a roundabout.
Yeah.
Okay, or you react to your kids because they use a different tone, or you react to like your colleague because actually they're quite offensive. But they probably didn't mean to it. So try and think more positively.
Because they're probably having just as bad a day as well, and it's
Yeah.
a way of reacting. And when you start to view life through a different lens, as if you've slowed everything down, and you're not negative, you're not angry, you have more compassion. You have more compassion for others, but you have more compassion for yourself. And boy, do you need that. We all need that.
I think sort of like this is quite interesting, because I know for me that, I can get up and I can start doing stuff and I feel great. But sometimes, and particularly because it's not, a lot of mine depends on fueling and energy levels because of what I do throughout the day. But I sometimes find that even if all of that's fine, my symptoms get worse. And I don't know, whether or not that's a combination because there's too much digital, or, I haven't sort of like eaten right, or, somebody's like riled me. And I just go, a lot of women say they start off fine, but as the day goes on, their symptoms get worse. And I suppose, have you experienced this? And how do these daily habits, I mean, we've talked about splitting them up. Is that a good way if you're finding that as a person experiencing it? Or is it just being more mindful to recognize that, oh, I feel like this is going to, so hang on a minute, what works before out my daily habit toolkit?
Yeah, I think if, it's like almost like another form of journaling is and meditation, where you observe and you take note of when it happens, because it could be linked to sugar, or lack of food, right? Where you feel tired, dizzy, and where you just feel completely overwhelmed. Where is it a certain person? It could be a person who does that to you, makes you feel that way, or certain stressful event at work or at home. Notice what they are, notice when they happen, and then take some kind of action, right? So you could go lie down for 5 minutes and just have 5 minutes with an eye mask on and just shut out the world. I know you can't do that in an office, but just taking a 5 minute pause, or fresh air, right? Or literally, just walking, moving, doing something. I think your habits, you have to keep in a certain structure for them to become habits. So ideally, you repeat them at the same time of day. This is like having an extra little toolbox of emergency tools. I'm going to listen to a meditation. I need to hear that woman's voice. She needs to calm me. I need to get perspective on what's happening. My heart's rate, you know what I mean?
Mm.
Or, oh my God, I just feel completely overwhelmed. There's a pose we do in menopause yoga, child's pose, but we have a blanket and we cover it over our heads. And it's literally called disappear from the world. And honestly, at times we all feel like we need that. It could be something like that, or just breathing, listening to your breath, or getting out in fresh air, because the chances are when you've done any of those, whatever it was will not feel as bad. Will it make it disappear? Probably not, but it's your reaction to it. You can't change the world, you can't change certain things, we can't change people, but we can work on ourselves and learn how to react and deal with things better. But it's a bit different to your habits. Your habits are what you repeat on a regular basis and should have a certain structure to your day, right? Repetitive time.
Which leads us nicely on to, I suppose, what does your typical morning routine and evening routine look like? We've talked about the daily habits, we've talked about types of habits, but sometimes it's easier for our listeners to relate to, well, okay, I'm listening, I've heard the benefits. what type of things would we do? What does it look like for you? What does it look like for me? Because then it gives them that visualization to go, how would it look like for them?
Okay, so I am an early riser because I always have been, but I'm either 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I'm straight onto my mat. I start my day with lemon water, and I then roll out my mat and I start my practice. And my practice can either be a short practice or very, very long. And followed by meditation, followed by my journaling. I will have said my affirmations when I wake up. I say them on my yoga mat, and I always repeat them after my journaling. And it's the same affirmation I shared with you. And then I have I have a vision board, and I have a list of my goals, and I look at my goals and visualize some of my goals. Yeah. To make sure I'm on track. And then my best time of the day, two doggies snuggle next to me, a cup of coffee because I've earned it, and I read. I read from a book, a book that I'm learning something from, which is also important. It could be a yoga book. It could be, mindset or something like that. But just so I can learn something and then share it with my ladies, right? Keep expanding, keep training your mind to grow. So that's what my day, that probably takes me about an hour on average, which is a long time, 45 minutes to an hour. But that is how I lead my life, and I get up early to do it. I'm free at 7 o'clock. I'm
Got-
free.
Yeah.
Done.
Mine's slightly different, but it still has similar. So I split mine throughout the day. So I'm again like you, an early riser, and I get up and I stretch. So I come down, I put the kettle on because like yourself, I do the lemon water, and mine's with a bit of cider vinegar as well. So I put the kettle on, I go and stretch to start off with, go and drink. Then once I go upstairs, sort of like get my kit on, because usually, I'm not just doing yoga in the morning. I am generally running like I ran this morning, or I'm on the bike. And what I do then is, once I've cleaned my teeth, whilst I'm drinking the hot water, I actually read development. And I do two types of development. So at the moment, I'm reading Course in Miracles. Then I go off and do sort of like a bit of more intensive movement, come back, get ready for my day. And then there's sort of like the journaling and meditation, because I go, it's great to do that, but I then find I more of prefer doing that in the evening.
Mhm.
So then I'm back to, right, I suppose the more relaxing meditative style
Yeah.
of yoga. I then kind of go, I do that, I journal, and then I read another book. And that may not be as intense, because Course in Miracles intense is more about my personal development. And I tend to do that. And there are some days where you just go, no, I need to read, something a bit more like methodical rather than development. But I've got either way, there's something in
Mhm.
the morning or there's something in the evening. And I think so it's actually quite good to share the two. You do yours in an hour,
Yeah.
mine's, I do the first, probably the bits that you do would take me probably 40 minutes with the drinking and the reading. Then I go and do an intense exercise because I'm a morning person, and then I have the relaxation. So it's
Yeah.
it's actually really quite nice to see the two
Yeah. I mean,
changes.
it's finding what works for you, isn't it? And
Mm.
that has been born out of practicing it many, many years. And yeah, and it's it's funny, the day when you don't do it, my day doesn't go
All
right.
right.
It's
No.
like the day all goes wrong, and I feel niggly and I feel stiff, and yeah, it's incredible. That's how you know it works.
Mm. And I think the key message I've got from today is, it's just one small habit to
Mhm.
start off with, and the maximum probably to start you off with is 5 minutes, so you don't get overwhelmed. Do that one thing consistently, okay, and then see the benefit, and then go, do you increase it or do you add in something else? And then go, when you ask that question yourself, I would strongly recommend Don't go with, oh, the textbook says X, Y, and Z. Go with how you feel.
Mm.
And I think centering about really asking a question of how do I feel and what's going to work to make me feel the peace, the calm, and a lot better.
Yeah. Good summation.
Sure. Thank you.
Mhm.
So, I mean, I have found today has provided us very much with some useful, valuable insights and very effective that we can all take away. Final question, out of all of them, we've talked about your top three.
Hmm.
What is the one that you would recommend that if everybody did today would have an overall benefit? What one thing?
Oh, go right now if you can, whatever you're doing, stop, and go lie down adjacent to a wall, lean back, swing your legs up against the wall, and stay there for 10 minutes. Honestly, you calm your mind, you lower your heart rate, you lower your blood pressure, you feel so relaxed. It's perfect to do on the bed and swing your legs up against the headboard. You help lymph drainage, very good if you suffer with restless legs at night. But in the middle of the afternoon, when you have an energy slump, it actually gives you a little bit more energy. It re-energizes you. It is the miracle yoga pose. So that is my go-to when I'm struggling, tired, I need to do my legs up against the wall or do it in bed.
Perfect. Thank you. So thank you very much coming back and chatting with us.
Thank you.
And again, it's just, I am so grateful. It's been a wonderful, wonderful experience. I will include your website in the show notes. And yes, to say to all of our listeners and my listeners, I do highly recommend Julie's app. It is relatively inexpensive. It is so convenient. I was away at the weekend. I've been away for a couple of weekends. Took it away with me and did a couple of your poses. So absolutely, which has helped me tremendously. So, my friends, if you'd like to chat to me also about your unique menopause experience and how and what it would be like to work with me, looking at your nutrition and holistic well-being, then please book a free, no obligation discovery call. And finally, if you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to thank all my listeners from the bottom of my heart. Hope you've enjoyed this. Please do share with others and also leave us a review. And until next time, make sure you're moving and taking on a daily habit. Thank you.
Thank you.